Hello you guys, I'm the RPG Recusant and welcome back to another episode of our Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke. So Roxas finally managed to make his way out of Mount Moon. Breathing fresh air for the first time in a while, he now runs to make his escape with a Helix Fossil in tow. The one object Team Rocket had been searching the entirety of Mount Moon for. But what other troubles might lie ahead? All that Roxas knows is he has to become stronger. So with that, let's roll the title card. Training and Tragedy. So on entering the Pokemon Center in Cerulean City, Roxas is overcome with just the sheer size and scope of the city. Coming from the small town of Pallet, he can't even imagine all of the different bustling people, shops, houses, and just the large golden bridge that extends up into the mountains higher above Cerulean City. But not wanting to ascend too far, Roxas goes to the west side of Cerulean City, had to do my never eat shredded wheat there, and decides to train on the wild Pokemon there. So I decided to cut an awful lot of this out in a bit of a montage, but for now we are looking for our newest Nuzlocke encounter, and we've already captured a Spearow previously before Mount Moon, so this is a duplicate encounter, so we're able to just move on from this and try again. But I hope you guys have been enjoying the episodes, and I'm going to try and keep a more narrative response going forward as we continue our episodic Nuzlocke. So on searching the grounds outside Cerulean City, we come across a Rattata, and unfortunately, due to a bad critical hit, we end up actually taking out this encounter and missing out on that capture. However, as Roxas looks, Prince is enveloped in light and begins to brim with power as he transforms into a new form. The Pokedex knows it's Nidorino, but having seen Chrysalis evolve before, Roxas was just surprised to see this happening so soon to another one of his Pokemon. So after training Chrysalis, Princess, and the others up an awful lot more, Prince still wanted to be one of the strongest, his attack now skyrocketing above the other different party members. However, on further training Princess, something strange happens. She begins to emit that same glow, but stops the transformation. Roxas is a bit confused. He saw the same shimmering light, but Princess, just looking to Prince, the once small, petite and cute Nidorino, transformed into this now large, hulking beast. Princess doesn't seem to want to transform, as even again, when she gains another level, learning a new move, Poison Sting, in the process, she still rejects evolution, wanting to stay her normal self, and perhaps proving that evolution isn't the only way to maintain strength. And even again, going through level after level, Princess still rejects this transformation or evolution of herself. Prince again, gaining more strength and more levels. Roxas just trains hour after hour, resting in the Pokemon Center, taking his room and board in the Pokemon Center, training the very next day, and then Huntress. Again, shimmering with light, she grows and develops into a brand new Pokemon, a larger bird that we know as Pidgeotto. Having seen all of this strangeness, he decides to take out his Pokedex and scan through his fellow comrades to see what the Pokédex says about them. And on scanning Pidgeotto, it says, Pidgeotto, the bird Pokemon. This Pokemon is full of vitality. It constantly flies around its large territory in search of prey. Turning to Nidorino, the poison pin Pokemon. Its horn contains venom. If they are stabbed into an enemy, the impact makes the poison leak out. Magikarp, the fish Pokemon. Famous for being very unreliable. It can be found swimming in seas, lakes, rivers, and shallow puddles. On researching all of his different Pokemon, he realizes just how different their temperament, their power, and their strength really can be. Chrysalis, now using to the best of its ability its psychic powers, changing so much from the little caterpillar that he once caught in Viridian Forest. Roxas decides to step forward into the second gym, his worst fear being surrounded by water. When the swimmer splashes his trainers, Roxas sleeps back and goes into battle. The swimmer, while underwater, throws out a Horsey, while Roxas, knowing that Pikachu will probably have an advantage, sends him out to face down the now waterborne seahorse. Horsey bobs and weaves in the water, and the swimmer hops out to make sure not to be electrocuted by Pikachu's attack, landing into the water, scoring a critical hit. The water Pokemon blasts back with a bubble attack. However, Pikachu deftly jumps from the pier, careening into the Horsey and then springing back, allowing it to land back on the stability of the platform. Another clam-like Pokemon, Shelder, is thrown forward. It tries to brace itself, but is unable to resist as Pikachu's electrical prowess leads it to defeat. Roxas now realizes Pikachu is going to be one of its only ways to get through this gym, being one of the only super effective Pokemon here. The swimmer mentions that another trainer from Pallet has already been through here. Roxas, not wanting to be outdone by Sora, speaks with the attendant, and he says the best way to deal with water-type Pokemon is to use grass or electric types. So Roxas goes back, heals up his Pokemon, and journeys back to try and take on the gym with Pikachu in tow. As he sees Misty, her apprentice trainer says that she must be beaten in order to challenge Misty herself. Pikachu paralyzes the Goldeen, but becomes confused with a supersonic. Eventually though, Pikachu hits through, and Goldeen's pecks prove ineffective, with Pikachu snapping out of confusion and the fish slowed down by paralysis. A critical strike leads Pikachu to victory and achieving another level, growing even more powerful. The trainer says, listen, one Pokemon might be strong, but you really might want to train up more against other trainers if you hope to be able to face Misty. Go to the Golden Nugget Bridge. There's plenty of trainers there, and in fact, I heard there's a prize for someone that can beat the whole gauntlet. Roxas, intrigued by this challenge, steps out, leaving the gym. Healing up all of his Pokemon, he looks forward, thinking on how this next gauntlet of trainers is going to be and what Pokemon will be the best going forward. Still noticing, even in the Pokemon Center, Nidorino seeming a lot more aggressive. Nidoran, female, not really speaking to Prince much at all anymore. Huntress just beaming with new power, and Splitchy just happy to be here and out of the derelict fish tank that Roxas spared him from. Meanwhile, back in Cerulean Gym, the junior trainer, taking out a small intercom device, says, "The kid with the Helix Fossil. He tried to go fight Misty, but I'm sending him her way. Make sure you take back what's ours." Of course, Roxas hears none of this and obliviously makes his way up to the Golden Nugget Bridge to challenge the gauntlet. But before any of this can happen, he stumbles upon a familiar face. Sora. "Yo, Roxas, you're still struggling along back here? I'm doing great. I've caught a bunch of strong and smart Pokemon. Let's see what you caught, Roxas." The battle commences. Sora, smug as ever, throws out his flying type, Spearow. When Magikarp is released, can't help but chuckle. I mean, I know you're afraid of water types, but picking the literal worst? That's really something else. Taking this moment of distraction, he swaps in Pikachu, landing a strong electric attack to the bird Pokemon. Spearow is left wounded and Sora pulls him back into the Pokeball for a retreat. Sure, electric might beat flying types, but electric is nothing against ground. So Roxas started to think, well, the inverse is true. If you're going to play type matchups, I know the ground can't do much against flying. And so Chrysalis came in. Using its sleep powder attack, Sandshrew is put into a slumber, and Roxas decides now is time to use its ability as a Metapod and harden to boost its defense, since odds are, with his Eevee still in the back, its powerful normal attacks will be a threat, and so getting a higher defense will be a good tactic. Sandshrew claws and claws at the butterfly, but it's blasting it again with sleeping spores, sends it into a slumber as it begins to harden once again, raising its defense, its wings starting to seem more like steel than butterfly wings. Trying one more time for a sleep, you can see Sora's frustration as his Pokemon is being made completely immobile and redundant by this situation. A critical psychic attack as the sleeping Sandshrew is picked up and thrown left and right until Sora resigns and says, "Okay, another Pokemon back. Now Rattata, let's do this. Just get rid of that butterfly. Get rid of it now." A bite lands in on Butterfree, barely able to breach its hardened defenses. "Attack it again!" he screams, when suddenly everything goes quiet as Butterfree, critically wounded, falls. Stunned, both trainers don't really know what to say or do. Upset and enraged, the Rattata continues to attack. With a double kick, Prince, protecting its comrades, fights down his remaining two Pokemon. But unlike Sora, Roxas makes sure that they don't perish from the encounter, allowing them to safely be withdrawn back to their Pokeballs before any fatal damage is done. Sora, a bit stunned, can only walk back in shame and say, "I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm so sorry." But if it's any consolation, you should be able to go see Bill. He has rare Pokedex pages that could be of use to you. Again, I didn't mean for it to go that far. Heartbroken, Roxas brings Butterfree back, and transferring it back to Professor Oak, maybe something can be done. But its fighting spirit, its will to fight with the party, to fight with the group, has definitely been lost to us. Our first death in the Nuzlocke is never easy, but nobody said that this story wasn't going to be ones with highs and lows. And with that, I've been the RPG Recusant. This has been our Pokemon Yellow Nuzlocke. Have a good one.